Okay, so there was a reason why the Black Manosphere was created and Black mgtow was created, and the reason why SYSBM Passport Bros was created because underlying races like Undead Chronic will push out racist shit like this. And as you see in the comic sections, which I don't have to make anything up, right? Undead Chronic pretty much is a racist fake mgtow channel, right? There was a reason why YouTube went after him and took his channels down. I listened to Undead Chronic 2 years ago. Well, no, not even 2 years ago. Probably like 4 or 5 years ago, when he got into that back and forth with um what's his name? Solo TB84. I listened to Turd Flinging Monkey. I stopped listening to Sandman because he was racist as well. There's a lot of people that's unaligned racist. Now we gonna look at the comment sections, and we gonna see how racist these people really are. So if the title amends race, they are not white. If they're religious and Christians, blah blah blah. The easy way to tell the headlines: if a black person is it a person of student or did something wrong, it's a white person. It's always a white man that did such. So pretty much, you know the reason why. This is why I said that one political side is more racist than the other political side. I'd rather have a bunch of people who are openly racist than a bunch of people who pretend like they care about black people by giving them little programs and stuff like that. Even though it helps, but they hurt it because then these racists right here comes out the woodwork. Right here, they're mad as shit that basically whatever white people do, it gets suppressed, and then they push it on black people. But these guys over here, these racists, they will turn around and say, white men are this, white men are oppressed, blah, 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 right? You twist the narrative, and facts are facts. Stats speak for themselves. So they run with the narrative that the FBI create the stats, so that means that it's true. The same FBI who killed half of the leaders that we had. And I'm not trying to be pro-black. I'm talking about real history. The same government who put drugs into the neighborhoods, and we're supposed to care about their opioid problem, right? So here we go. Because you can see it all over. We don't have a race problem in this country. We have a problem race. I'm still in that. In every country, it's a coincidence. This is the type of people that garnered in Undead Chronics comment sections, right? Who shot? Predict that. I'm quite shocked. Single mom households. When did the zoo/animals become journalists? Wow. I'm not lying. This is Undead Chronics. This is Undead Chronics section. And this dude keeps doing this. At first, he pretend like he was for black dudes. And I'm just looking out for a couple guys because a couple people kept asking me something about Undead Chronic. And I said, I want you to stay away from Buddy. Don't listen to his channel because he's a racist. He just, at first, in the beginning, he wasn't as racist as he is now. But he was small bits of it. Now, I don't know if his friend Hammer, that dude don't have race bait and shit. But like I said before, anybody who hang out with racists, they're probably racist themselves. There's a reason why a lot of black mgtows and a lot of the black side of YouTube separated from these fucking people. Because they started making it a race thing and not making it a man thing. While black dudes was making it a man thing, some black dudes was making it a man thing. Like I said, all men go through this stuff. They made it a race thing. So they want to put the blame on everything we do. And they want to put the blame on everything else. So if black people disappear today or tomorrow, they're going to live in this utopia. Am I supposed to believe we are the same species? Look. Never allow your children to be unsupervised around animals. Oh, wow. All the white have major roles in the plan. This is why I'm a Nat Scott is the only reasonable cure for European face today. It's funny how this works these days. I guess people don't know what's coming. Guess we're gonna F around and find out sometimes in the near future. Elaborate. Civil war. It wouldn't surprise me, just kind of have a feeling around what will happen. People are saying something that they're not. When I was 13, I rode the bus that was 90% black. I was a nerdy white kid. They never gave me a seat. And one day a black kid unprovoked and said, I will beat you up. And who was responsible for all this? Now you see why. Because mind you, I've been in the heart of these racist ass these white websites. I've been in the heart of this shit. And I know the difference between guys who ain't really racist and guys who are racist. These guys act like they're not on YouTube. They act like nobody can't see what they're saying. And Undead Chronic act like nobody can see the shit that he's saying. And he doing a race baiting. Now, I wanted to show y'all something. So, this is what happened when the Ty Lawson, whatever the Ty shit situation where the cops, all them cops beat up him based off something else. So, Undead Chronic did a race baiting, and he said, Memphis is going to burn tonight. Don't be outside if you're white. Stay safe. So, the narrative that Undead Chronic is pushing out is that black people are hunting down white people in the country, and they're getting blamed for every single thing because these BLM and because all these other people. I told you it's dangerous because they fuel the fire for these racist people to be acting like the way they acting, and they hide within this. Now, the real privilege is to be able to loot, rob, and murder with zero accountability and consequences. With rape crowd, blah, blah, blah. Look, you can see right now, we need rooftop Koreans now. Thank you for this community post. I'm glad I subscribed. A small portion of the population, very large portion of crime. We got plenty of Rittenhouse in this area. Memphis checking in 10 minutes. Big reveal. Mind you, there was no looting, no riots. And he didn't come up and say nothing. As I said before, racism isn't going. It's not going. A lot of these dudes are weak as fuck. And a lot of these dudes are weak as shit if you have to rely on racism and crime analytics. They need somebody that did this. They need somebody to blame for their failures. They did it to Asian people back in the... They did it to Korean people back in the Korean War. Well, back in... They have targeted certain people until the world pointed at them and said, well, y'all do this to black people. They did this with Russians. They did this with Italians. They did this with Jewish people. They did this with Asian people back in the day too. And they did it with, back in 2001, they did it with Muslim people. The common denominator will always white people. They always fall back on hating a whole group of people. And then they got to get checked by everybody around the world. And then basically they hold back. They turned around and started attacking Asian people because of the pandemic. They were the ones who did this. They were the ones who Asian hate. They started it, but Asian people threw it on black people for a few of us. So Asian people was a part of that as well, pretending like we were around attacking them when it was white people that was attacking Asian people more. They're the more, like I said before, if white people actually cared about their own race, they would stop going to South American countries and Asian countries for their sexual needs and go straight to the European countries and just stay there and create European descendants. Y'all have more money than everybody else. But I think they need somebody else to talk down to in order for them to feel good about themselves. Like, there's a history lesson in this that when they was all white people there, they was losing resources and they was dying off from the plague and all this other stuff. You know, like I said, history buff, whatever it is, because, you know, I can go back to history. It's fuzzy because I haven't studied up on it a lot. But when it was just white people, they made a whole bunch of mistakes. That's why they was going around traveling the world, taking resources from everybody else. And the reason why they were going around conquering places because Europe was running out of resources and running out of stuff. And the things that they did, the atrocities that white people did in history, they shouldn't be talking shit about anybody. Not only that, there's a reason why a lot of them won't make a move about some race war and civil war with anything. Because if they make a bad move and other people around the world is watching, they will probably get wiped out. Because of the racism that they did and the things that they did to other people. You probably would be surprised. There's people right now that says they don't even have enough people to repopulate anything like that. That's why they use these tactics against black people. Because they still didn't make up their numbers from what they did back in Civil War, where they lost so many people. And not only that, there was a power dynamics between them, the people who wanted to support other races and the other people that just wanted to support white people. But I have to give you a detail so you kind of know exactly some of these guys and the reason why a lot of guys left certain communities and create our own. There's a reason why a lot of black men are not around incels, because white incels blame black incels and think black incels got a bigger advantage over them. Like I said before, man, there's a reason why black men decided to do their own thing. There's a reason why black men decided to leave certain groups. This is the reason.